Discovery is back with us this week, and wow, what an episode. This one was certainly something we didn't predict, and yeah, there's a lot of details to jump through. Stick with us as we're diving into episode 9 of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. Hello everyone, my name is Captain Jack, and welcome to Trek Central. Star Trek Discovery season 3 episode 9, Terra Firma part 1, was certainly a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one in a way. Honestly, this episode was not what we expected, nor what we predicted would happen. It certainly is interesting, and there was a lot of details to cover in this review and subsequent videos this week after this video as well. Now, Terra Firma Part 1 is directed by Omar Mara, who's their first Discovery directing credit, and it's actually written by Bo-yeon Kim, Erika Lindenpohl, and Alan McElroy. Fun little fact for you, the upcoming Section 31 spin-off show, which will be helmed by Michelle Yeoh's Phillipa Georgiou, will actually be written and headed by Bo-yeon Kim and Erika Lindenpohl. Interesting they're writing these episodes as well. They also wrote Terra Firma Part 2, which is airing next week. Make sure to watch our videos coming up on that as we attempt to predict where that episode might be going, but it looks like it might be a bit of a hard one as well. The official synopsis of this episode reads as, the USS Discovery crew journey to a mysterious planet in hopes of finding a cure for Georgiou's deteriorating condition. Stamets and Adira make a stunning breakthrough with the newly acquired burned data. There's a lot to get through with this episode, so strap in as we're beaming down. If you are new to the channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from myself and the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media via the links down below in the video description. Spoiler warning, we'll be diving into this episode in full review detail, so if you do not want to be spoiled, make sure to watch it in your own time, then come back to this video later. Okay, I think I can say this out of the bat as soon as we're into this view. Wow, if you told me this week we was going back to the Terran Empire, I probably wouldn't have believed you, to be honest. I didn't think Discovery would actually do that as a show. I really thought we'd left the Terran Empire behind and weren't really revisiting it anytime soon. Then again, in our most recent livestream here on the TC channel, I did mention what if the upcoming Section 31 show does incorporate aspects of the Terran universe or the Terran Empire, etc. I didn't think I'd be right for this episode, now I feel slightly bad. But anyway, it was nice to actually see the Terran Empire aesthetics again. I do imagine the whole Discovery design crew are just opening like a giant cupboard of all the Terran stickers and stuff they put away and all the costumes. It was great seeing all that back again. I honestly didn't expect this the direction for the Georgiou's or like redemption arc to go, and I'm surprised where this is going to go. Honestly, my predictions for the next week's episode are going to be really hard. I'm going to have to watch this episode a couple more times to try and get the gist of where it's actually going. One thing I do wish for, though, is it possible to get Jason Isaacs back as Mirror Lorca or Prime Lorca in this case? Please make it so. Resolve this mystery, Discovery. Just give me more Jason Isaacs. That's all I want in my life, you know. That and more Anson Mount, but we're getting more of him soon. I just want more Jason Isaacs. I'm sure some of you can agree with me in the video comment section below. If so, please let me know. Let me know what you thought of this episode as well while I'm quickly in this bit, because I would love to know, as this certainly was an interesting episode, and one I think is going to invoke a lot of discussions from the Trek community and the Star Trek Discovery fandom, as particularly this is an interesting episode to say sure, and I can't wait to have more discussions about this, and once everyone's watched it by Saturday, have a big discussion on Twitter. You can follow us down below and myself in the video description, as it's certainly going to be interesting. So this episode does start out with a mysterious man, Kovic, talking to Dr. Kolber. I was a little bit annoyed with this scene because we don't really get any information on who Kovic actually is as a character. We know he's somebody who has an interest in Terran worlds and also quite a lot of knowledge of the Temple Cold Wars, and also access to some very sensitive data within the Federation HQ. Admiral Vance seems comfortable around him, which suggests they both know each other. Well, obviously, they know Vance, etc. But I don't know. There's more to this character, and hopefully it's not just not left on like a red herring. We never get to know who he actually is or what he is. Something's definitely going on with him, and I love these mysterious characters and how they develop. Speaking of mysterious characters, the entity which allowed Georgiou to go through the mysterious door on this planet was rather interesting. This entity very much reminds us of Q or other of the original series entities we've seen in Star Trek before. For myself, after recently watching the TV show The Man in the High Castle, this character gave me vibes of The Man in the High Castle, and honestly, if they had Stephen Root play this character, it would have been very interesting. At first bit, I thought this entity might be a Q, and it still possibly could be. However, I like to think this entity, or Carl as they're called, are entirely new, like entity and design, etc. Maybe not a Q. How we relate, unknown. This could just be someone who's completely different, or something I should say, that's completely different. The sphere data knew of it in a way, so therefore, I don't know, it's interesting, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on. It's interesting to understand this. There's more here, and I think, hopefully we're going to get more of this entity in the next episode as well, because I have a feeling once the Georgiou's sort of arc is resolved, we'll know more. How Georgiou's going to play out this, whether she comes back to Burnham, or she does go back in time, inside Star Trek Discovery's sort of universe, is very interesting. Let's quickly speak more about what's going on in Discovery before we jump into the depth of the Mirror Universe. They're obviously chasing the origin of a burn. They do find more information that the ship at the center of this nebula is actually a Kelpian ship with a Kelpian crew. They're actually sourcing out a ravine of dilithium in a way, which is kind of interesting. Saru has a very good connection with a hologram in a way because it's seeing his own species again. You think Saru's story, he's not really spent much time with his species. He came away from him, before season 1 of Discovery when Georgiou rescued him. Or not rescued him, she took him from her homeworld. And then, he did connect with him in season 2. Other than that, he's not really had much time to ground himself with his species. By the time the whole events of season 2, he went to the future along with Discovery. Since then, we have learned that Kaminar did join the Federation, but because of a burn, they're just out of contact range. So as a man who's not surrounded by his own species, kind of must be difficult. Speaking about Saru, again, he did have some great moments in this episode. His walk and talk scene, I guess you could call it, with Booker in the corridors of Discovery, very nice, and did remind me of other captains' walk and talk scenes, very much of Janeway in a way. I still stand by my point, Saru's becoming a very confident and very capable captain in the Star Trek universe. He's definitely starting to get up there with the likes of Janeway and Sisko, etc. and Kirk. Not there just quite yet, he's still got some time to go, I think we can all agree, but he's definitely becoming a very competent commanding officer of a starship. And I really can't wait to see how his character evolves even more. One complaint and criticism I did have this episode, and I don't want to be the negative guy, I feel like the Burn storyline is now being sidetracked in favor of Georgiou's storyline. Obviously, Georgiou's storyline does have to be wrapped up and dealt with, so it makes sense that a Burn is sort of being sidetracked, but at the same time, we do have this pressing issue of the Burn here, and even Saru mentions it himself in this episode. He goes, the needs of many must outweigh the needs of the one, which obviously is very similar to the Vulcan edict, isn't it, in a way? So therefore, even he says it himself, which is kind of funny. Admiral Vance does, say they can go and do this, because they're in the Gamma Quadrant, he sends them over there. I don't know, I just feel like it's a bit disappointing. I need to know more about the Burn, but obviously they're holding it up for the next couple of episodes. Terra Firma Part 2 will deal with the ramifications of Georgiou. The 11th episode, 12th and 13th, which are the final episodes, will deal with the Burn, and hopefully a resolution to this mystery. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this season of Discovery ends on a cliffhanger, and we don't get a resolution to our questions until maybe New Year, or next season in this case. Simply because I have a feeling the story of Discovery now stretches over multiple seasons in a way, which is a good thing. Because that means they can develop the universe and develop the characters even more. I wouldn't be opposed to that myself, because if, say, the Burn doesn't get resolved immediately in Season 3, no reason why we can't touch it in Season 4 with like a new bad enemy or something. Because Discovery is in this new sandbox of Star Trek lore to play with, it has the room to do something like that and keep us entertained as Trekkies. Let me know what you think of that idea down below in the comment section. I'm particularly all for it. Obviously, I would like to have some resolution or some sort of big wabang in the end episode of Season 3, I guess you could call it. That's not the technical term. But, I just wouldn't be happy. I would be happy if it goes over to Season 4 or 5, etc. It is something else to talk about. The Terran universe, on the other hand, a lot to process there. How this is going to play out, and one of my main concerns at the minute, is whether Georgiou is back in time, or whether she's in a recreation of her past in the Terran universe. Because if she's back in time, and actually in the Terran universe, then any change she makes there is going to affect the future timeline of also the Prime timeline as well. That will be having big ramifications. There's a lot to play with here, and we see she's landed back in the Terran universe exactly before the coup of Lorca occurred against her. We see Paul Stamets, or Mirror Paul Stamets, trying to assassinate her. That fails. She's well aware that Michael Burnham is plotting against her as well. Lorca is also, plotting against her. We've not seen him yet, and as I mentioned earlier, having Jason Isaac back would be kind of interesting, but alas, I don't think we're going to see that just yet, unfortunately. It would be really nice to see it, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll see Jason Isaacs in Discovery. I'd be happy to be wrong though. We did have Rekha Sharma back as Commander Landry, or Mira Landry in a way. She can be seen in the episode just in the corner. I'm pretty sure it is her. I'd have to double check with credits, but it definitely looks like her. One critique I did have is in Georgiou's flashbacks. We keep seeing her having this flashback of the character of San, who is dead on the floor essentially. That's the only thing he's done so far, or they've done so far. Therefore, are they going to appear in these two-part episodes? If so, it seems a bit weird to chuck in a character's name in a way and have these flashbacks. I expected San to maybe appear in this episode. Even the upcoming preview trailers for the next episode didn't really show us that much, so it's not much to go off of in a way. So I don't know, there's a lot to process for this episode, and a lot to talk about. Overall, I did enjoy it. I'm just very surprised they chose to go back to the Terran universe, or the Terran Empire. The commissioning of the USS Charon was something I didn't expect to see, but obviously we did see it now. That links into it, and honestly, I'm struggling to think where the next episode of Discovery is actually going to go, which is a good thing in a way, because that shows good writing in my opinion, because if I'm unable to predict like where the Discovery is going or where the actual episode content is going, I personally find it as very entertaining because it's got me thinking even harder now. Predictable writing is something I hate in sci-fi, particularly in sci-fi video games, which I play a lot of, for those of you who know me well. However, if I can't predict something, I like it very much because that gets me thinking even harder as a viewer and consumer of this content. Therefore, honestly, I cannot wait to sit down with the Trek Central team over the weekend and hash out and theorize on what we're going to get in these upcoming episodes. It's certainly going to be fantastic. Do let me know what you thought of episode 9, Terra Firma Part 1, down below in the video comment section as per usual. This does wrap up our weekly Star Trek Discovery review. Overall, I'd say this is a very well done episode, though for me to really give you my thoughts on it overall, I'm going to have to wait until the part 2 of Terra Firma comes out before I give my full review of this two-parter. It's a two-parter, so that does make sense. I just wanted to share our thoughts with you today. Of course, if you're new around here and want to stay up to date with the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. You're on social media, and so are we. Follow us via the links down below in the video description. For now, everyone, thank you for watching. I've been Captain Jack here on Trek Central, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends.